I dreamt I needed open heart surgery. I looked healthy. In fact, I looked great. Dr. Segal was my surgeon. Because I looked so well, the press was suspicious. They claimed I was having an affair with the doctor and that my surgery was nothing but a sick expansion of our relationship. I was nervous because Dr. Segal had delivered me into the world. And I feared the irony of his ushering me out of it. The world appeared undisturbed by my predicament. An acquaintance called to invite me to a party. I asked Dr. Segal if I'd be able to go. He told me I'd be in a full body cast, but if I could find the friends to carry me, I'd be fine. Between me and the surgery facilities was a huge table which seemed to be set up for a banquet. As I approached, I realized the dishes were filled with human organs instead of food. My eyes hurt when the anesthetist stuck the syringe into my forehead. I was curious about the effectiveness of drugs administered in the face. Dr. Segal laughed and offered me a beer. I asked for whiskey, which was what he was drinking. A foolish woman within earshot was explaining to her daughter that she'd been unbearably lonely and cold, or she never would have killed herself. Her face was painted white, so the child would know she was about to die. Then I realized that I was about to go into surgery, and that no one had come to visit me. I didn't care about the death part. I was crying for want of sympathy. My mother told me about what her obstetrician had told her about pain in childbirth. It doesn't exist. It's just a sensation. I don't remember meeting Dr. Segal except once. I remember staring at his wrinkly hands. We were roommates in a hospital room, both about to have babies. Dr. Segal entered and began talking to my mother. I began to have labor pains, but they ignored me. I tried to tell them that this was not my first pregnancy, that I'd been through childbirth before, but they wouldn't believe me. I asked them how could they deny it when both of them had been there. They laughed at my misconception and turned away. I saw my infant's head. It was bluish-gray and huge. It had no body. It was dead, with a horrible expression on its face. They told me I hadn't given it enough time. I left them. I took the gruesome head with me. Then I threw it away. For lack of anything else to do, I walked out into the rain to celebrate my freedom. After her cancer operation, my mother's hair was dirty, so I gave her a shampoo. Later, she told me she'd always trust me because I hadn't been afraid to touch her. I remembered that had been the first time I'd recognized her as a thin woman. We'd go out and see friends she hadn't seen in a long time. They'd comment on how well she looked, not able to conceal their surprise. Together, we were in a restaurant, and I told my mother, tentatively, that a friend of mine had heard a rumor that she'd been supposed to die before my dead father. He'd asked me if it were true. We laughed at the strange wording. I dreamt my father hadn't died. He'd been sleeping on the beach and had been buried by blowing sand. When he woke, he came home for some food. We didn't have any. He couldn't explain the bandages over where his heart was supposed to be, but he admitted to having chest pains. Then he said he had to go. I was watching him disappear when some doctors came in and denied that they'd lied about the surgery. Angry and frustrated, I went for a long sleepwalk, narrowly escaping death at the hands of ghouls and madmen.